Welcome to the Love Your 9 to 5 show. This is a show where we bring on guests who are either successful in making the transition from work that they hate, that they despise, that is not a true expression of who they really are, and they've either changed and made that change themselves and now are in a much better position, or they've helped others make that very same transition. Today, we are fortunate that we actually have Tracy Timm with us. Tracy is yes, I'm reading from the paper, is a career clarity catalyst, professional speaker, podcast host. I didn't know that. Human capital advisor. Tracy, tell us a little bit about who you are personally, if you don't mind sharing the short version as it pertains to this conversation. And professionally, where have you been so far?
So my journey started when I graduated college with a degree in psychology, but really no solid idea of what I wanted to do professionally. And I went to a great school that had incredible opportunities for us to have great jobs after we graduated, but it was great by somebody else's definition. And that's how I got to Wall Street. And I had just crumbled to this sort of, I'd gotten on the career conveyor belt, as I call it, and I got a little bit down the road and woke up to a miserable version of myself that was so anxious and so unhappy. So I reached out to what I thought was a logical place, my school, my alma mater, and said, do you have resources for recent alumni, thinking they're going to give me a book or a coach or a program or something? And they were so lacking in resources that the light bulb went off. I can't be the only one who's 2, 5, 10 years into my career and woke up miserable and wants to make a change and knows they have potential and wants to do good work, but has no idea what that looks like. So at that point, the seed got planted. And so if you fast forward today, it wasn't immediate, and it definitely wasn't an immediate transition, but today I have a career clarity and strategy business, and our whole ethos is helping people go from stuck to unstoppable. And we do that through a proven strategy and methodology.
So the bottom line is people go and they get their degrees in things that they have no idea. They have zero world experience. They don't know who they are themselves. They've just barely matured. They're just figuring out what life is all about. And they're these young adults. We put them through these years of college, pay through our noses many times, and come out with degrees that either are not applicable to the business world anymore, or they are, but there were shorter ways to get there, or the worst case scenario is that it's completely the wrong credentialing for the wrong person.
This happens to almost everybody I talk to, is that they find maybe a topic or an idea that interests them, but they have no idea how to translate that into a professional setting. You have to choose, or the decision is going to be made for you.
Awesome.
Right? But one of those two things is going to happen. Yeah.
Even if you're not bad at what you do, if you don't like what you do, ultimately that's going to affect your performance, or at the very least your mannerism, and you will be that toxic person that we make fun of, that every organization needs to just get rid of that person and everyone else will heal. Or, people also don't want to admit that they hate their job. There is reluctance to admit that, because admitting that says I failed.
If you are in any way miserable doing what you're doing, if it's not just listen, maybe 10, 20% of every job is going to be a bit of a shit sandwich. And that's just like the case with everybody. I love my business, but do I enjoy like the little administrative crap I have to do? No, but it's part of the bigger whole, right? First and foremost, there are people who allow their circumstances to dictate their life, and then there are people who don't. And I think if you look at people who are wildly successful, have extraordinary results, have lives that they love and feel deeply engaged with, they're probably the latter. But what I really want you to think about, because that's just kind of like a mean thing to say, the deeper thing that's at risk here is getting to the end of your life and having the number one regret of dying people, which is, I wish I had had the courage to live a life true to myself. It is the number one regret. And it's Bronnie Ware's 5 Regrets of the Dying, or the Top Regrets of the Dying. That is number one. I wish I had had the courage to live a life true to myself and not worry so much about what other people thought. Are you going to regret just having done it because of insert X, Y, and Z random thing that you think you can't get over? And that was the case for me. I made 6 figures at 22. I took my parents on a cruise to the Mediterranean. I bought really good Christmas presents. I had bank holidays off. Like, I could have justified staying there forever. But it truly was eating away at everything that was good about me. And every piece of value that I could actually be adding to a business was a liability in that scenario. If you get super clear on what's core to you, and then you commit to living to those values, living by those values and for those values, that's the only way you can start to make alignment in your life and in your career. It's the only way. Because you continue to define success by what somebody else cares about and what somebody else values, what your parents do, what your friends are doing. You may stumble on it. You may get lucky, right? And that's one of every however many people who are like, oh yeah, my friend started such and such job and I just went with her and I ended up loving it. But how often does that really happen? Not very often. I'm also not trying to get people to live outside of their means. I think that if you have responsibilities, those are the first things that you should put down in your, life audit. But you can only sustain a living doing something you hate for so long. And if you want success sustainably, then it has to align with what you give a shit about. It's like, it just has to. So step one is life audit, core values, commitments, and then turning those commitments right into like a vision. What kind of life do I want? And if you don't define it, it's really hard to find it. All right, I'm just going to throw this out there. I am an unintentional entrepreneur. I did not want to start a business. I had to start a business to get a message out there that I cared about, to do work that I really loved, to live the freedom that I desire. I am not the end all be all resource on entrepreneurship. However, from my experience, if I did not care about what I'm doing as much as I do care about what I'm doing, I would have quit an uncountable number of times already.
People are idolizing freedom and the laptop on the beach farce, which is not true. Because if you go to the beach, your laptop will get full of sand and the sun will probably ruin the battery. It's just a terrible, terrible idea. But there is that idea that we all want to be able to do whatever we want, travel wherever we want, like the 4-hour work week type of theology. And we don't even care if we're rich, the new rich, and we just want freedom and flexibility. If it doesn't fit with your core values, or if you have no idea what your core values are, and you're just pushing day after day because you're waiting for the big payoff, it's probably not going to come because you're probably not providing enough value because you don't know who you are or what in the world you're trying to do. And B, even if it were to come and just fall in your lap, you may not be able to handle it until then, financially, emotionally, spiritually, anything, Chili, because it's just too difficult.
So if you at all are unhappy with what you're doing, and you choose the fear or the anxiety or the worry route, or we talked about just not making a decision at all, know that you will never regret trying more than you will regret doing nothing. It's psychology 101. And the day that I learned that is the day that I decided that I will not regret trying. I will always regret not trying. So go for it.